right. Hi everyone. So today we are going to be taking a look at my 5 favorite low light tolerant houseplants. So a few disclaimers before we get into this. One thing you need to note is that just because I say these plants are low light tolerant does not mean that these plants are necessarily going to thrive in low light conditions. And what that means is if you put these plants in low light conditions, they may not push out as much new growth or really be as healthy as if they were going to be if you were to put them in a brighter light scenario. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. I'm assuming that if you are here, you are relatively new to the houseplant game and you wanted to kind of figure out what houseplants are going to work in a room that does not have the best light conditions. So I will name 5 off here, and I should also mention that for each of these plants that I'm going to mention, there is a care guide available on my YouTube channel for each of these plants. I will have them as a card that shows up right up here in the upper right hand corner, and you can click on that care guide video and check that out. So number 1 is the Spathiphyllum. This is also known as the peace lily. This is toxic to humans as well as cats and dogs, so just keep that in mind whenever you purchase a plant as well. This is a flowering plant that pushes out white leaves, and it is low light tolerant. If you really want to have the best amount of blooms as well as the best amount of new growth, I would absolutely recommend putting it in a brighter light condition. However, it will tolerate a lower light condition. It's also important to note that the peace lily is a very thirsty plant. So if you are someone that does not water their plants frequently, whether it be due to your schedule or just kind of neglect, you're not really into a very high maintenance plant, the Spathiphyllum may not be your best choice due to the amount of water that it does require. It will display signs of dehydration though, which is what is happening here with this plant. It's actually drooping quite a bit in the foliage. And I just watered it this morning, so here probably by the end of the day it will be perked back up and ready to go. So if you're someone that isn't into watering very frequently, if you're out of the house or something like that, Spathiphyllum is not going to be your best choice. So moving on to the Aspidistra elator, which is the cast iron plant here in front of us. I do have a care guide for this plant as well. It is non-toxic to most cats, dogs, and pets as far as I'm aware, but I would absolutely do your own research and proceed with caution. This is a very, very hardy plant that can survive in a very wide array of light conditions as well as watering conditions. So they are drought tolerant and they are low light tolerant as well. Again, if you want to have a lot of new growth, if you have kind of a scraggly looking plant and you want it to fill out and become a little bit more bushy like this guy is here, I would absolutely recommend putting it into a brighter light scenario. However, these will tolerate lower light conditions. And moving along yet again, we have the Dieffenbachia or the dumb cane. This is a Dieffenbachia camilla, and the Dieffenbachias are toxic to humans and pets as well. So definitely keep that in mind if you have any pets or kids or anything like that that are going to get into your plants. They do prefer a higher humidity as well, so if you're someone that can't provide a little bit more of a humid condition, I would not recommend the Dieffenbachia. The Dieffenbachia does do okay in lower light scenarios. However, I would not keep it in a low light condition for more than a few months. So if you have a Dieffenbachia and you would like to use it as kind of like an interior design feature or you know, like a centerpiece in a darker room or something like that, you can absolutely do so. However, whenever you have the chance within the next few months, I would definitely move that plant back into a little bit of a brighter indirect light so it can really thrive and push out the growth it needs to push out to survive and have the energy that it needs to survive as well. All right, and at number 4, which is probably one of the best low light plants on my list here, is the snake plant. This is 2 different varieties of snake plant. We have the more traditional kind of vertical flat leafed snake plant here, as well as the cylindrica, which is a kind of circular type tubular foliage, which is very interesting visually. So these plants are succulent type plants. So if you are someone that is not going to water a lot and you want a plant that is a little bit easier to neglect in terms of watering, snake plants are going to be really excellent. Because they have so much water storage in their leaves, you definitely want to wait for that soil to dry out before rewatering, and it can go quite a bit without a fresh watering. So keep that in mind whenever you're buying this plant. You definitely don't have to water it frequently, so if you're someone that waters infrequently, the snake plant is a good option. In addition, the snake plant can thrive in a wide array of light conditions. So if you want your snake plant to flower, you can put it in bright direct light for a little bit, or you can actually keep these plants in bright indirect light, and that would absolutely allow more pups to grow throughout the season if you want to have a fuller plant or propagate the plant. Or if you are using this plant as a decoration and you don't necessarily care if it flowers or if you're getting a whole lot of new growth out of it because it's already a full plant, then you could absolutely put them in a lower light condition and they will do just fine. Something else to note about snake plants as well, they are toxic also, so keep that in mind. Last but not least, we have the ZZ plant. The ZZ plant is a very, very hardy plant, very, very popular in the houseplant community right now because it is such a hardy plant and so easy to care for. It is toxic as well, so keep that in mind. And if you have an extremely low light condition, if you're like in an office or something, out of all of these plants, I would go for either the snake plant or the ZZ plant. The ZZ plant can tolerate bright and direct light as well as very, very low light conditions, so making it a very good choice for someone that does not have optimum light in a certain room. Something else to note about the ZZ plant is that it is very drought tolerant as well. The stems are very hardy, very thick, as well as the root formation. There are actually something called rhizomes in the soil where this new growth gets pushed out of at the stem. And it kind of looks like a potato. It's like a water storage vesicle for the plant. And that is how it grows. So you can also propagate it by dividing the plant like that as well. All right, everyone, I think we kind of covered all of the plants here. We got the peace lily, the spathiphyllum, the cast iron plant, the Aspidistra elator. We have the Dieffenbachia or the dumb cane. And then we have the snake plants and the ZZ plant. Just a quick recap here. Very thirsty plant, does okay in lower light conditions, but I would recommend a little bit brighter for the peace lily. Cast iron plant, can't do much wrong. Very good choice regardless of your light conditions. Dumb cane is going to be okay for low light, but I would definitely only keep it in there for a short period of time. Snake plants, they'll be fine, don't worry about it. And then ZZ plants also will be fine, just don't overwater these last two options and they will definitely stay alive. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I hope this provided some good information for anyone looking for a lower light houseplant. These are some great options. And I will definitely keep an eye on the comments and answer any questions that you guys might have. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.